Hey, folks, I am over in Sue's part of the world right now, so welcome to the show. I'm still waiting on I've got a new monitor in, and so I've kind of shifting things around, hiding wires, preparing it, for going forward. So I'm just over here where Sue normally sits during the program. So my new computer, Blake, should be getting here on Wednesday, from what we understand. And I'm getting an arm for the monitor. It's a
Nice.
big 32-inch monitor. I'm looking at a little 17-inch screen here, which in 2025, when you're doing a show like this, is absolutely inadequate to the task. So it is what it is. We're
Yeah.
here. James Farley is our first guest. Thanks, James, for tuning in and watching the program. We're going to get going here. So the big story again, it seems we can't get away from Canada, even though we like to. Our American friends are getting bombarded. Let's start off with this, Blake. Our
Yeah.
American friends say the algorithm over on the X platform has gone for a turd, and people are saying that conservatives, patriots, MAGA are saying they're getting inundated with liberals freaking out over Trump doing the renovation on the East Wing to get the ballroom going, ballroom dancing.
Yeah.
And and of course the Dems are so short-sighted, so foolish that they think that, oh, we're going to show horrible pictures of the destruction of it. This is the people's house you're destroying. Talk points like this. When Trump's finished with this thing, it's going to look golden. It's
Yeah.
absolutely going to be a thing of beauty. It'll fit seamlessly into the structure of the White House proper.
Yeah.
It's going to be astounding, and the ballroom will be absolutely glorious and stunning. Trump might as well be gay because the guy can design so beautifully, so delicately for a woman's eye that there'll be no complaints when he's all said and done. And if you look at the demolition work on the on Obama's basketball court, when he doing basketball for that, they look like shit too, because it's a reno. It's a demo reno. It's what it looks like. But when it's all said and done, okay, it's fine. Nobody's going to lose sleep. They put a pool in there. I guess they got a pool, to swim around it. Anyway, so I just think it's so short-sighted, because when the project's done, it's going to look like a gazillion dollars. Trump's paying for it. Trump's donating his own money to it, plus donors are adding money to it. It's all privately funded. Nothing is happening from the
Taxpayer side.
nothing's coming out
Yeah.
of the American taxpayer. So there's no real argument against it other than political talking points. So Trump's the king, and he's going to think it's his house. Chelsea Clinton coming out saying, "Oh, we respected it. It was our house." And then one of our guys points out, "So you fuck that." He goes, "Your folks were the ones stealing cutlery and furniture out of the church. Respect it." My response, I said, "Clinton put his sperm all over. Your old man was dropping sperm all over the place, all over the people's house. Thanks a lot, Bill."
Yeah.
So obviously, Chelsea maybe should sit this one out. Absolute ridiculous. Yeah, 40 is in the house, our friend from Manchester. Nancy's here. We love her. But, this is Sue's spot, where her kind of view. And
Yeah.
so I'm not over here normally. I'm getting a new computer. I'll be back to my regular place
Yeah.
on Wednesday. So come Tuesday, I should still be here in Sue's spot. But, it is what it is. Okay, he was embarrassed by how glorious all the other countries' ballrooms were, and he wanted to have the best. It doesn't matter. I mean, it's diplomacy. The White House entertains a lot of people. There's going to be a lot of important people there. If you could argue the most important people,
In the world.
players are going to be there. The shakers, makers of the world. So, Blake, your thoughts on this? Those were my thoughts. I think it's very short-sighted to criticize it. Go ahead.
Very simply, a nothing burger. I mean, it's meaningless. Really, they're trying to, as you said, make a mountain out of a molehill, and there's not even a molehill. It's just renovation. That's all it is. It's renovation.
Yeah.
You can do that. We see governments do that all the time on all different projects. Some of them we scratch their head. Maybe they should be more concerned about sending money to help, someone research, multi-gender approach in the
Yeah.
country of Laos or something, sending $100 million to countries like that.
Yeah.
So, come on, Dems, get your focus in. That's just ridiculous. You're looking at nothing. I mean, you were looking for a photo op. That's all it was. A picture of a demo.
I agree. Okay, friend. The big story here today is, unfortunately for our American friends, we got to look at Canada. We got Doug Ford. He's the premier, governor of Ontario. He's the head politician for that territory in Canada. You guys have states, we have provinces. England, you've got counties and boroughs. As good a friend, as good as master, as a good old town, better a city in the good old world ever knew. And as Tiny Tim observed, God bless us, everyone. I love that line in the classic Christmas Carol, 1951, Alistair Sim. But here we are in Canada. We've got Doug Ford. He's a premier, so he's out, but he's punching above his weight. It's like a national, not even a national figure. He's a provincial figure relegated to the province of Ontario. And here he is making hay, influencing the American election. This is absolutely fuckery of the highest order. Trump doesn't like it, and for good reason. We got our moronic, absolutely fucking retarded Canadian politicians, Webb the Canoe out of Manitoba is friendly.
Oh, David Eby as well. He did it. He jumped aboard as well.
So
the Ford
they're
train.
out there going, way to go, Doug. Elbows up. Let's fuck up Trump. Let's get him. Whoa, we're making a difference. It's like the fucking Ralph character on Ralph Wiggum on The Simpsons.
Yeah.
I'm helping. It's just absolute nonsense. Canada is a fucking joke. I hope America, Trump administration absolutely busts Canada's balls. If you wanted the administration's attention and the pundits, Dan Scavino, who I love, who I follow religiously over on the X platform, he's one of Trump's guys in the White House, the chief of staff, I think, of the White House. And Scavino's there just going, this is a mess. You've got Michael Reagan, Ronald Reagan's son, is the head of the Reagan, Heritage Trust, is saying this is all bullshit. And, if you listen to the full guy, and of course, we know it's bullshit on our side of the aisle. Reagan, because you got, first of all, it's a 1987 clip. Free trade was a big push. And to my naive little self back then, when they were talking free trade the way they pitched it, so if you order a book from America, Canada, you're going to get it in American price dollars in Canada. It's free trade. You won't have to pay tax on that because I'm going, oh, okay, I'm all for this. I'll get a book for the same price. And then I realized that never happened. In fact, nobody benefited.
Big, huge resource companies.
Yeah, nobody benefited from it. It sucked out our auto deal. All it did was free trade. Now our car industry could go move to Mexico because it's cheaper there. It just made it easier to move shit around. Fuck the middle class. Screw the little guy. And concentrate more money and more power in these corporations. So those laws were all designed for. So now we know. Trump did not sound too happy. Of course he's not. And neither should he be happy with any
Canada. American, really.
Okay,
no
Blake,
American should be happy about
I think Canada is a colossal joke. We deserve everything that's coming to us. They're acting big balls. They want to play in the big boys league with Trump. Canada is not in that league. We're not in that weight division. America punched the fuck out of us. We deserve to have the shit kicked out of us economically, and they're going to do it just because they pulled the ad. I don't think, and Carney, apparently, here's the latest on it. Prime Minister Carney has talked to Ford, and keep in mind, Ford is like, in name only, is like a rhino Republican, okay? Thank God.
Lindsey Graham.
Lindsey Graham, what even worse, he's a Mitt Romney type figure.
Yeah.
He's horrible. He's a Thomas
He
Massey
loves his
idiot.
Democrat buddies. Yeah.
Yeah, he's too busy giving blowjobs to Democrats. But anyway, to the liberals, and Carney's a liberal. So you got these disparate people on different sides, but they're in sync with each other. They're just absolutely giving blowjobs to one another. And so now Carney said, Dougie, pull the ads. Alert, we're sinking. So it's gerbils leaving a dirty rectum here. It's absolutely it's fuckery, bumfuckery of the highest order. Like, take it away. Tell me your take on this. I think it's
only if you can play a soundtrack behind me. We can play "Hide the Hamster" by the Dayglow Abortions.
Yeah, Mr. Lemmy Weeks. All right, keep going, buddy.
This is just the pinnacle of Canadian stupidity, and it really is. I mean, this is it. This is Canada in a nutshell. We are a country of overprivileged, whiny brats that think that everybody owes us something because we're so nice, and that's the problem here. I mean, Ford is a reflection, really, of that sort of punchy. I mean, let's call it for what he's a socialist. He says he's a conservative. He's not. He's a socialist because he believes in maintaining the monopolies. He loves Canadian monopolies. He's part of the Laurentian elite. They're all about this. They're all mad that Trump's basically forcing their hand, that their monopolies have to come down. So these guys have created a wall or dug into their trenches, and they're trying to drag all of us Canadians down with them into their world to protect these monopolies. And we got to end the monopolies, and we could fix it overnight. But Ford, he's like a character from a Benny Hill show, right? He just I don't know if he's a clown, if he's doing this on purpose. I mean, maybe he's a secret supporter and wants to become the 51st state before Alberta does. So he's doing stuff to sabotage what I would see, even though I don't think Carney is part of that group. I think Carney's playing both sides. But I think they're essentially, is he secretly trying to sabotage it so that Ontario becomes the 51st state before Daniel Smith and Alberta goes. But it just seems like to me, if there was any way to piss off Alberta even more, Doug Ford just helped divide the country even further because he's so selfish about Ontario. That's his job, by the way. He is the premier. He's supposed to care about Ontario. But if you're working collectively in a country to work on a trade agreement with the United States, you have to do it with good decorum. You don't go swinging baseball bats and wrecking it for everybody else. But the point, I think, it doesn't make any sense to me, why he did it now. I mean, imagine this, Canada. This is for you Canadian listeners or those watching us here. Could you imagine if China started running television and radio ads in Canada right now? About how great it is China should have these trade agreements to bring in their EV cars here, and we should be feeling ashamed that we're tariffing Chinese goods, specifically Chinese EVs, right? So how would you feel about that? Well, that's just, this seems to be this hypocritical viewpoint that Canada has over the United States. It's kind of like, well, we want to be your brother, but we don't want to be in the family. So how does that work? Trump's saying, join the family. Come join the family. And you're like, no, elbows up. No, we don't want to be part of the family. But then you're mad when that family member doesn't want to come visit you anymore.
How about a beautiful video?
But my point is, I think to make this very simple for the most simple-minded out there, how many of you Canadians or Americans have gone shopping, or we've got people from the UK here, you've gone to a store that you patronized for a long time. They've done significant changes over time that you don't like. What do you typically do in that you no longer want to patronize that store? You go to a different store. You no longer patronize it. Would you allow that store, their staff, to berate you and and start advertising in your home saying how horrible you are and call you orange man and all other kinds, call you a fascist, but you need to shop in our store. Shop in our store, damn it. We hate you, but shop in our store. Could you imagine, as you as a customer, how would you react to that? Would you say, fuck you, I'm never coming into your fucking store again? Or would you go like the classic Stockholm syndrome person, say, oh yeah, I'll come and shop in your store? No, 99.9% of us would tell that store, fuck off, I'll never give you $1 of my money again.
Walk. Yeah.
So wake the fuck up. You don't, as business 101, when you have customers, you work to keep your customers, which means you do everything in your power to make them happy. You don't berate them. You don't go after them. The United States is our customer. Canada is like a store. If we want them to shop in our store, then we better make it attractive. And right now, Canada is not attractive. We're full of monopolies. We're full of a Chinese influence cancer. We have progressive woke nightmare that just won't go away. We've got situations where our land, we don't even know if we own it beneath our feet.
Yeah.
So why would anybody want to come into our store and invest any money into it, not knowing if it'll even be there in 2 years?
Well,
it's
this
ridiculous.
Is now, okay, so Carney came out, he gave a speech, and he's gone, there's going to be sacrifice. Of course, that's never for the elite ruling class. That's going to be for you and me and the Canadians. Expect pain. We're going to get the pain. We're the ones that are going to be paying the price for this, Blake. And I don't believe for 1 second that any potential trade deal with the Asian market, including China, overseas with Europe, in any way is going to be comparable to what we could do with the United States. Because first and foremost, the Americans are next door. So then you're talking goods, services, what the hell? They got to cross an ocean, either the Pacific or the Atlantic. That's going to cost things up. And for the very reasons you state, who the hell would want to deal with Canada anyway? It's extremely hostile.
Well, you make a good point about China.
Foreign investment, other than cronyism and backroom deals, slapping each other on corruption, which we've already had. Toronto Dominion Bank getting slapped. We got corruption down to an art. We're still throwing money out to the Ukraine. It's nuts here, man. It's a failed state to me. So do you think I'm right about that in terms of the Asian market, the European market? You can to India, you can take whatever you want. India's not happy with Canada, for the love of God. South Africa, South America, wherever you want to go. I just don't see any combination, even if you stack them on top of one. Oh, look, we're giving you the world, instead of the United States. I don't think it's sufficient. It won't make up the loss. I just don't think it's feasible. Well, I think Canada's in a world of hurt. Go ahead.
I think the problem is we faced this back in the 1990s when we began the process of, with the Americans, it was Democrats at the time and liberal in Canada in the 1990s, working together to create, better trade agreements and opening up the Chinese market, right? That was the whole push. The risk of doing that. Now, number one, we are ideologically, when it comes to Western values, when I'm talking about classical liberalism built into our constitutional and liberal rights framework, doesn't align with a lot of these countries like China. So the point is, they were thinking, oh, we could change China. No, China's thinking, we're going to change you. We'll just
keep
using
the
back
door.
China's winning. And that was what the warnings bells were sung back in the 1990s as both Canada and the U.S. went into this evil relationship, desperate for just the almighty dollar. They didn't have a soul when they went into that. They're losing your soul by going to China. So this is a warning to Canada to get around the U.S. and you think you're going to go deals with all these other countries in the world. Just look who you're doing deals with and what are you going to give up for that? You're going to lose your soul. Your soul is what makes up your country, and which means you have to give a chunk of who you are.
okay, hold on. You
And they've done it,
understand-
and that's what's
Wait
happened.
a sec. Hold
Yeah.
on. You
Yeah.
understand better than most that the Western values, our culture, our whatever the fuck we were, that is gone. That is dead. That is buried.
Yeah.
We're South Asia now. We're China light. We're indigenous, whatever the hell. But we're nothing. We're no
Yeah, Western
liberal
civilization's
human rights.
collapsing.
All that
Yeah.
classical liberalism is gone. It's dead and buried in Canada. And I don't think it's coming back unless we get annexed by the United States. Now, just to show that this isn't related just to Canada, that we're not just the only victims of this, Blake, take a look at this clip here.
Yeah.
This is some frickin' hockey puck. Over there, the UK friends will recognize the UK Parliament there. Let's see how they get on.
Mr. Speaker, in our public services, almost everywhere you look, outdated digital and data systems trap us in the past. We are razor focused on reforming the state, and central to that is a free, universal digital ID that will bring the state to all citizens and improve access to
Lovely.
public services.
We don't want you in our houses.
A digital identity system is a public good that is long overdue, and this government will deliver it. Mr. Speaker, in our public services, almost everywhere you look, outdated digital
All
and
right.
data systems
So
trap
we
us
got this
in the past.
moron. Let's kill that. All right.
What a
So,
good-
so digital ID is a big part of it. This is something that was initiated and up and running in China. So that's already happening, man. Holy smokes.
that is the Chinese system, but that's exactly what by allowing China to lead the world in industrial development, the trade-off was we had to reduce our belief in human rights. And the human rights, and I'm not talking about socialist collectivism or we don't have a collective rights. We have individual rights and freedoms. That was what the difference is, where the collective being the old Soviet Union, China, the communists, the hybrid communists, whatever you want to call them, fascist states pretty much now. But this is what they want to do. This is the trade-off. Well, you now have to be more like us if you want to trade with us. Now we want this. It's easier. And of course, the corporatists who have been working with the Chinese for 30 years have made a great deal on that because they get a monopoly. They get the Chinese get to play footsies with them. They're their buddy now, and they can utilize those corporations to start eroding all of our civil liberties and freedoms. And now you'll get your digital ID by force. I heard Keir Starmer saying, well, it's not exactly by mandatory, but we're going to charge you £85 every time you're asked to present your ID if you don't.
Okay, hold on. I love what you just said. I heard that as well today. So this ain't fake news. Apparently, at least this is a rhetoric at this point, whether it's going to manifest that way. But they're saying if you don't adhere to this, they're going to try and muscle you into this by fining you £85 per incident. Whenever, say you're at the hospital.
They're not calling it a fine, but yeah, they're calling it a fee to be able to not have digital ID because it's going to cost them money to have to look at your paper ID, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
the less I have to do with any government institution, the happier I am, man. The happier I am. That is just absolutely.
But there you go. I mean, he just admitted it. You'll not be able to buy, sell, or trade without their mark. That's where they're headed.
What does that sound like, buddy?
Yeah, it sounds like Revelations.
Yeah, mark of the beast time, right?
Yep.
Without it, without that mark, you can neither buy nor sell. It truly is an economic symbol of control, coercion. I mean, it's these are dark times. There's a real struggle going on. There's a battle. The only pinpoint of light that I see in this whole morass, I'm wrong about that. I was going to say Trump's the only light, but he's the effective light. He's a spotlight. We got little.
He got power. He got power. That's the difference. He's in power.
He's got the power.
There is power that could happen in the UK with a major change there of Nigel Farage and hopefully, Robinson and Farage could get along, and Farage should stop hammering on him. But the point is, you got people that are in position that could win power if the authorities are, unless they're so corrupt, they'll never allow it to happen, which we have seen, right? Arresting political foes, Marie Le Pen. We've seen it here as well in Canada, but they weren't political leaders, but they were leaders nonetheless. But we do see change. There is that hope and changey thing that Obama used to call it, but the kind of change he wanted is the kind of change we don't want. And that's the change that's happening in the world that we're fighting against. But there is some good lights in the world right now. What we're seeing in Argentina is fantastic. That's what we need to see, that kind of revolutionary spirit to bring back, classical liberalism to the way our societies should be run. Right. And that is free trading with each other, no monopolies. Nobody's better than anybody else. Everybody's equal playing field, which means shares the same rules. None more of this crony capitalist crap, playing footsies with the Marxists who use the crony capitalism side to monopolize workers' monopolies, take control of pensions and pension funds, and manage our capitalist society, which is not capitalism anymore. It's become crony capitalist and infected with Marxists. And that's the problem. We've got Chinese Marxism or Maoism that's now into our financial system, and it's got to stop.
See, I'm not saying America doesn't have its problems. Obviously, they do. They've got a lot of Democrats. There's a lot of people that, on the dole, and there's problems left, right, and center over there. But Trump's doing something about it. And the liberals are complaining, and they're left with absolutely empty talking points in order to try and rest the narrative, like this situation with the no story wing of the East Wing getting the ballroom in. Same thing. I got my buddy Massey was talking. He goes, you got to pull the boats over and talk to them. Trump treats it as a war. He goes, these drugs are coming in. They're killing our people. They're enemy targets. That's how we framed it. So we're going to act that way. I have little doubt that the people they're killing are the bad guys. The video I saw was this boat filled with these drums. They had the boatload of drums, and and whatever's coming from the U.S. Navy or Coast Guard to take them out. I have zero issues with it because Trump already gave them warning. The administration warned them. Blake, you know what I'm not going to do tomorrow? I'm not going to fucking run the corridor between the United States and Venezuela on a high-powered boat. Yeah, I'm not going there. You know why, Blake? Because I want to live.
That's right.
I want to be killed. So I'm going to change any potential behavior. If the water's foul, get the hell out. So no knocking on the door. Hi, we're from the United States Coast Guard. We're just wondering what you got on board. Bang, bang, bang. Oh my God, we're all shot dead because they're bad. Turned out they were bad guys. That's right. I agree fully. I support this administration fully. I'm totally behind the administration. A full carte blanche. Go ahead, Trump. Do what you need to do. You need the National Guard. Get the National Guard. The Supreme Court's backing Trump up. Again, we're seeing victory after victory after victory from the Supreme Court for this administration. Praise God for that. Wolfie goes, I think they're actually using drone launch missiles. Whatever I say, keep it going. Okay. Yeah. Here you go. Zero debate on the ballroom project. Let's talk about Obama's basketball court, the bowling alley they put in there, and the swimming pool paid for by the American taxpayer. And as we mentioned, Trump's paying for this out of his own pocket and out of the pockets of dedicated donors. Also, huge shout out to an anonymous donor, 130 million US greenbacks going to pay military personnel during this shutdown. Praise God for true patriots, people that have the clout, the wherewithal, that put their money, where their mouth is. This multi-billionaire guy can clearly afford 130 mil just to make sure that America's service personnel are being paid. I have such respect for that individual. God bless him. May his reward be rich in heaven. And if he's an anonymous donor, the Lord sees, and his blessing should be great indeed. Blake, I got another story talking about, unfortunately, we're back with stupid Canada, but here we go. This is a clip of Dallas Brody. She's a 1BC, a brand new party in Canada. Very much a true, it's like a MAGA party. Okay, go ahead, buddy. What do you
I was just going to just quickly say that so that everybody understands, Dallas and Tara Armstrong were part of the BC Conservative Party and were kicked. Well, she was kicked out for what you're about to talk about because she was arguing against the 215 graves, that there was no evidence.
Yeah. All right, let's
just so everybody knows why 1BC came out to exist.
Let's roll the tape, and then we'll talk a bit about this land claim bullshit. Here we go.
I rise today to introduce the Land Acknowledgement Prohibition Act. Land acknowledgements are the anthem of a suicidal nation. They're recited in classrooms, boardrooms, and before virtually every public event. They're repeated ritualistically to instill the belief that our country is illegitimate, that Canada has no right to exist, that our ancestors are evil, and our history must be abrogated. They tell our children that we stand on stolen land. This bill will make it unlawful for publicly funded institutions and their employees, such as teachers, to make or to compel others to make land acknowledgements that deny the sovereignty of the Crown over the lands of British Columbia, or that attribute collective guilt based on race, ancestry, or the historical actions of Canadian figures. Our bill expressly protects statements that are historically accurate and includes provisions to guarantee academic freedom. British Columbia has a glorious history. Our British founders entered this land in the 18th century as the untamed wilderness that it was. They built roads, railroads, mines, homes, and established laws. They created a civilization we call home and enjoy today. Our ancestors were not evil. The truth is they did not steal Canada, they built Canada, and we're not ashamed of that. We're proud of their legacy and of our history and culture, a magnanimous and glorious one. We'll no longer shame ourselves in the daily course of public life. Mr. Speaker, the Land Acknowledgement Prohibition Act declares that this land belongs to all British Columbians without apology and without surrender. We should end all forms of discrimination between citizens based on race or ancestry.
Thank you, Member.
I urge every member of this House to affirm their commitment to the equal rights and equal dignity of every Canadian by supporting this bill.
Okay, so that bill was introduced in the British Columbia legislature, and it was roundly defeated. And here's the sorrow: the right wing actually joined forces with the worst of the left wing, the NDP, National Democratic Party, and they joined forces and they defeated it. Say, no, we're going to keep the bullshit going. And are they aware, Blake, as you have articulated so many times on this program, that these land acknowledgements are simply the ground, the clearing of the way, the prophet, the voice in the wilderness, preparing the way so that you will own nothing and you will be happy owning nothing. Only the true reality is you'll own nothing and you're going to be freaking miserable.
Yeah.
So
100%.
Land claims it was absolutely defeated. And listen, man, I bailed on the Conservatives. I know like people are still voting. It's a problem for the Conservative Party and it's in disarray. You can speak to that a little bit about that locally. They're in big trouble here. I mean, limited interest to our American and UK friends, but just this land claims thing, it sorrows my heart that the so-called the people that are supposed to represent conservative concerns of classic liberalism, classical values, classical, and even egalitarian, let's treat us all equally and not, signal us out. Oh, I'm Dutch, I'm Indian, I'm this, I'm that.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Speak to the
Well,
failure of the Conservative Party to stand up for truth, justice, and in this case, the Canadian way.
Well, the BC Conservative Party is the problem that they have. They came out of nowhere this last election because of the collapse of the BC Liberal Party, which changed its name to BC United, and then it had a complete fall because they weren't listening to the people, and that was the problem. The opposition being all of us who can't stand the progressive losers from the NDP that turn us into this collectivist shell of a country that we used to have, or a province. And really, it's just an offshoot of the Liberal Party federally, because they're acting the same way. This anti nationhood. I mean, they're embarrassed, and the weirdest thing is happening in the UK as well, because they're the indigenous people. The Britons have a right to fight, much like the First Nations did here, saying the same thing, but they're saying no, you don't there. But what's happening here is just saying you are a country with no meaning. Basically, the nation state has changed to be nebulous, without
their
a
problem-
personality, without a character.
yeah.
And
But they're attacking England, Blake, by, you watch the BBC, God
Yeah.
forbid anybody that does.
But they're
But
using.
you watch these historic dramas, and it's like, they're finding Cheddar Man. Oh, Cheddar Man is African. Where, the black people here, oh, Henry V, we was Kangs, that whole nonsense. But, so they're undermining traditional, whatever England was, whatever, Wales, Scotland, Ireland were, and they're reinventing it as some sort of, Afro-ethnic empire. It's just absolutely ridiculous.
Well, and I think what's happening with the BC Conservative Party is that they are a historic party in British Columbia. They used to hold government over 100+ years ago. The last premier we had was Premier McBride. And then what happened is the rise of the communists and the CCF, and then the liberals, traditional liberals, who were more classic liberals, where the conservatives were the protectionists. That was really the difference. That's where you would fight. You would fight over the differences between, really, do we trade with the Americans freely or not? That was the big fights of the days way back when. And really, we were a mining, resource-rich province. And the conservatives disappeared under the rise of the merger party of liberals and conservatives. Well, what ended up happening is liberals federally started to become the NDP under Trudeau Sr. They became left, far left, socialist left, like buddies with Castro, far left lunatics that took over what was a party of classical liberals, more in the lines of von Mises. So you had this shift of a 180 going into the opposite camp with your political party. But then you had to merge with these people because there was some semblance, we still like capitalism as long as it's crony, but we still like it. We got to keep the socialists at bay from taking it over, which was really the labor side of running the federal or the provincial crown corporations and things that they were creating at the time. And so social credit was formed. So the BC Conservative, through all that, the NDP got power in the 90s. The Conservatives tried to make a little bit of a comeback, but everybody swung behind the BC Liberals, became the free enterprise party they came, and it was the worst mistake. That was about the time that the WEF types, was formerly the Bilderbergers, got our leadership in the Liberal Party of the BC Liberal Party to start handing over all of our crown assets to these globalists. And that's where it became a downhill slope from there. So that toxic group that was in the BC Liberals, who then lost power in 2017, were still in the BC Liberals. And then when they did a name change, the BC United, they couldn't make any traction. Nobody was buying it. Nobody wants globalism here, folks. They don't want it. We want our own province. We wanted our own country. We're all about... We want individual rights and freedoms, and you guys are attacking us. So the socialists came in. They've made things worse, but the liberals couldn't win. They lost in the snap election that was called by John Horgan at the time. And then they gave the NDP basically a majority. They got a majority. And then that takes us up to this last election because Horgan got cancer and stepped down. They had a leadership race, and that's how we got ultra uber communist David Eby in charge. So,
Yeah,
but the problem was in that last election, the BC Conservatives were rising on the concepts what we all believe in, like a maple MAGA for British Columbia. These were the people who were saying enough with the bullshit, the progressive insanity, the woke logic into government policy, spending wildly, driving our costs through the roof. And what ended up happening? The BC United during the campaign decided to fold up and throw their support behind the BC Conservatives, behind John Rustad. Now, Rustad had switched camps and joined the BC Conservatives, became the leader. They thought, at the time that Falcon would bring them in, but they lost, and that was BC United. And then that's what you have. You had this sort of really a ragtag group of inexperienced neophytes in the political world who have been online fighting and arguing, and kind of like MAGA in its infancy. These are people who had strong opinions, didn't like the direction, the way things are going, like what we just heard from Dallas Brody. Dallas Brody comes from that camp. And so what happened during the election? Well, Rustad tried to tone things down. And of course, the party was attacked for having rookie people who don't buy the establishment line. And they were attacked by the media here. And really,
the media is the enemy of the people.
They're the enemy. And you keep telling people, stop trying to placate your message to them. You almost won an election with basically a whole group of almost inexperienced people, never held office. But then he brought over a number of BC Liberals. And the BC Liberals were the cancer.
Yeah.
And some of them were a cancer. So that's kind of where this happened, right? And they're in this situation where you've got this toxic mix of globalist WEF types within the BC Liberals that are now in the BC Conservatives because they want to drive the agenda. They want to chase out all the trucker convoy types or ostrich savers, as they're now attacking now. They're attacking people who want to save the ostriches the same way they're attacking the trucker convoy. It's the same messaging. And I think when you look what's going on in the BC Conservatives right now, that's exactly what they're up against. Now, there's been massive internal strife because people are demanding John Rustad step down because he's not representing what the people who thought they were getting with the BC Conservatives, which was basically a group of people who wanted to change the progressive hell that BC had become under the Liberals and under the NDP. NDP just took it to the stratosphere. But the point is, they're both the same camp. They're just on the same side of that sort of globalist agenda. And I think people are fed up. They're fed up with it, and they're fighting internally. There was, over this whole land claims issue, it is being used to destroy the province. There's no hands down argument against that. You cannot prove that this is going to be good for the province. How does this work for Israel with the two-state solution so far? Imagine a 200-state solution, because that's what they're saying for BC. There's over 200 Indigenous groups, First Nations people, groups that are fighting for their own territorial and self-governance. So if you're going to do that, you're beyond the balkanization. This is way beyond that. They will not get along. And what Dallas Brody is saying, and she didn't say, but she essentially saying, is civilization was brought here from a time where there wasn't. They had competing, warring tribes. You had slavery, which had been rampant for eons here. The British, when they came and took control of the area and claimed it, they brought in law and order, including in 1834, the abolition of slavery. And the local, our local HBC governors at the time, because we had a governor in British Columbia at the time, before it was even named British Columbia, we had Governor Douglas, had to somehow explain as a chief factor from a fort that we can't condone or support slave-free chiefs. So we're being told by our government, no more slaving, right? Yeah. But they did it, and it was going on for a long time. and just things like that. So what is Dallas Brody saying? No, it's time to make everybody equal. We can respect everybody's cultures. Like, go ahead, practice what you believe, your religion, your faith, but don't force it on anybody else. Everyone's equal. It's back to the classical liberal rights, individual freedoms, not this collectivism, not this belief that there needs to be some kind of social justice. Because anybody hears that word social justice, just look at Marxism. That's all it is.
Yeah.
All it's saying is that it's an envy-based justice system where
So answer
somebody
this question. Yeah, answer this for me. Why did only 2 conservative members of the legislature vote in favor of this motion, this bill that was introduced by this lovely Dallas Brody lady? I like her a lot. They're going to get my vote next election, this party. But
I can tell you pretty easy.
Why? I mean, what's in it for these conservatives to go, okay, yeah, we're not going to do it? What's the motive?
Because most of them are rookies. They're listening to a team of people that have been brought in by Rustad that are all old political hacks from the Liberal Party, and some of his chief of staff are former NDP operatives, and so they're telling them how to act. Wait, he's telling them how to act because the media and the projection, we don't want to look like we're a bunch of whack jobs. That's exactly what they're being told internally, that we need to show that we're ready to govern. That's the words they'll hear inside from the strategists. They're saying you need to act mature. Once we get power, well, that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to say we can't have everybody running off and doing their own thing.
And what's the problem with that strategy, Blake?
Well, the problem is now you're speaking the language of the progressives. You're never going to win it. You're never going to win them. You got to defeat them. And you're going to chase away. You're going to divide the right further. And then you're going to have endless NDP government. That's what's going to happen.
And also, if you're the conservative, you're going to have to be them. So you're going to have to get dressed up in drag. You're going to have to go out there and I've had 5 abortions very proudly.
Well, they told Chris, what's his name? Billboard Chris. He came to do a talk to everybody at the legislature who had come, and Rustad told his MLAs, "Do not go. You're not allowed to go." He used a party whip to go.
Tell the kids who Billboard Chris is. Tell them who he is.
So Billboard Chris is an activist globally, but he's from our neighborhood. But he goes around the world, but he carries a billboard about arguing against the usage of children being transitioned through the drugs. What do they call it? Hormone treatments and surgery on children. And he's been fighting against this sort of activist group, medical activism to convert kids at a very young age, and he's fighting against it. I don't think he cares if somebody's an adult and they want to do what they want as an adult, but the point is leave the children out of it until they're old enough to decide what they want to do. So he was bashed because the NDP has permanently, this is the thing, look at the flag they wave. The flag that they have on their banners full time now. It's not a Canadian flag. It's not a British Columbia flag. It is the Pride flag, which has the big trans black line through it.
Yeah, it's become a religion unto itself.
And even people within Pride are falling away from it. And I think traditional homosexuals and lesbians are like, yeah, we're not you.
I mean, that's been done there. But, they've got problems within themselves. Like, because, holy shit, man, like our shit don't stink. Because we've got NAMBLA, North American Man Boy Love Association. There's some problems with that, and even the idea of trans exclusive radical feminist turf. I have issues with the radical feminism part of that. Even though I could be good with a trans, I can go, okay, I get that. I'm on board. But radical feminism, that's done nobody no favors.
Well, and I think that's
the radical or third wave feminism has been an absolute disaster culturally, socially.
Well, and I think what's happened
in the whirlwind.
Well, British Columbia has been a dumping ground worldwide for a long time of these
Yeah.
insane labor leaders, and they're labor leaders. This is where a lot come. Then they get into our educational institutions. They become professors, and then they go from there. They teach our children who becoming young adults to become teachers with the same progressive logic, which is just
they
is
took
just
over all
Marxism.
they took these institutions over. I think one of the wonderful things we're seeing is the democratization of information. So just little shows like you and me, the X platform. I don't listen to MSNBC anymore. I don't listen to the BBC, the CTV, the CBC. I don't listen to Fox News. You know that clip where they go and the news people are all saying the same script? They're reading it. Check out how many Fox affiliates are reading that same script alongside their CBS and ABC and
CNN.
The rest of the networks. They're all getting the same talk.
And it's worldwide too, which is amazing. It's not just America. You could line it up what's being said in the UK and in the Five Eyes, right?
Also here in Canada as well.
Yeah.
So it's absolutely pathetic, but they've lost that voice. Hollywood, I just laugh at Hollywood. They're so out of touch. They bring a celebrity. We had Taylor Swift, who's one of the most powerful celebrities right now with her age group, admittedly within her cohort. But it wasn't enough. Trump won in a landslide. No matter what they tell you, he won all 7 swing states, 5 or 7, how many there are. He won them all. And now we're winning even more. Like the registered Republicans are up in New Jersey. We're looking like, New Jersey may go to our side. The good things are happening. It's just America, man, this administration, and it's so early in, Blake. It's only 7 months in, but I rejoice that the lamestream, the legacy media really lost their influence, and certainly celebrity. Do you care what a celebrity says anymore? If Robert De Niro comes out and goes, I think Trump's horrible.
Tune them out. Matter of fact, when a Hollywood character or some musician comes out all yapping their flaps like Neil Young, I don't care. You're just like an old cranky boomer guy flapping your wings in the air like Carney and his gang. And the thing is funny is listening, especially when they're Canadian, they drive me even worse angry, is you've made it well off the system in the United States. You've done well. And yet you complain about the same issues for Canada, but you won't bring your money in Canada, get taxed at the same rate of all of us. You won't be part of that. So you guys are just the worst. Mike Myers doing his little Carney dance.
He was paid for that. He was paid
for it. That's what's so disgusting is he billed for it. I wonder if Neil Young, who, this notes for you is this political endorsements for you is actually his real gig.
Well, he ended up selling his catalog, a large portion of it. He didn't sell everybody. So, this million, a few million is for you, Neil. All right. We got a clip here from Blake. He wanted me to share it, so we're going to do it. And so we return once again to our poster boy for today's program. If you're wondering what the thumbnail is, I got a little Fafo beaver there. For some reason, AI didn't want to put his little tail in, telltale beaver tail. Looks like a gopher. But anyway, nonetheless, there's a little rugrat. And then we got next to that, Doug Ford in all this little clown makeup. But let's produce a clip in the time remaining. And we'll go out talking about this nonsense. Again, I'll make it very large for you.
So this came out just before you and I went on. I think he got his call from Carney.
Okay.
And then he posted this. So
do you want to read it?
Sure. Our intention was always to initiate a conversation about a kind of economy that Americans want to build and the impact of tariffs on workers and businesses. We've achieved our goal, having reached U.S. audience at the highest levels. I've directed my team to keep putting our message in front of Americans over the weekend so that we can air our commercial during the first 2 World Series games. In speaking with Prime Minister Carney, Ontario will pause its advertising campaign effective Monday so that trade talks can resume. The people elected our government to protect Ontario, our workers, businesses, family, and communities. That's exactly what I'm doing. Like I said today, Canada and the US, this is funny, our neighbors, friends, and allies. We're so much stronger when we work together. Let's work together to build Fortress AMCAN and make our two countries stronger and more prosperous and secure. So I commented to that is like about that. Simply that does of him not understanding what that really means, because that essentially I wrote him. Where is it here? I think did it not show up in that list there?
Well, what I got, I just love this comment here, Blake. You weren't helping. Here's you screaming to shut off power to the Americans with your smile on your face. You're a lunatic. I love that. I mean, that freaking cracked me up. We are not the same. Digging a hole. There he is, digging a hole for himself. You're the worst premier ever, and that's saying so after living through the Bob Ray years. Is Doug Ford a retard? I'm going to go with yes. I got to go with the other yes. You know what Fortress, this kid here, I like this guy. He goes, you know what Fortress North America means, right? Means we enter an economic security trade and common currency union like the EU. This means no more crony protectionist monopolies in Canada. You like that? And you retweet that one. Maybe the Liberals should offer Ford. Oh my God! So we just, oh my God, resign you.
He's a big that Mr. Sunshine's a big. He's got a big channel.
Yeah. And here he goes. I am, in fact,
that's like I am Canadian.
Kind of freaking nuts there. But, the absolute state of things. So he digs this hole for himself. Then he tries to pander and talk nice to Trump. Is Trump going to go with, oh, okay, it's all forgiven now that you're doing that?
Well, we're seeing, he's trying to backspin it, saying, "Oh, I did my job, I did it." No, you just made things worse, you fool. And I think that's the point. Is like I'm just saying at the beginning of the show. Was he intentionally doing this, or is he really that stupid? Like, was there a strategy that he was hoping to put a torpedo in the side of what Carney was supposed to be doing? Or was Carney part of it? Like, I don't know. Was he trying to bring it back to the attention to the masses that somehow we were forgetting about it? But I saw a really funny post somebody put up last night, this morning, Babylon Bee. Pull up Babylon Bee. They put up really funny that Trump has decided to tariff the Toronto Blue Jays -7 runs against them before they play.
Look it up. Babylon Bee. Bee.
Yeah. They're kind of a spoof.
I know what they are. Yeah.
I know. But they posted that up, and I was just howling because I'm like, everyone's all elbows up, and they're going to hide behind the Blue Jays going to the World Series here. Yeah. There it is.
Blue Jays to start World Series with 7-run deficit as Trump imposes a tariff on foreign teams. There, we'll give him a like. Elderly lesbian throuple turns out to be Green Day. Oh, that is funny. Holy shit. That is good. Oh, my God, Blake. It never ends. So, do you think this is by design, or are they incompetent, or is this minds greater than our own going, hey, let's just totally destroy the country so that the left really think that we're anti-Trump, but in fact, we're handing them the keys to the kingdom, such as it is?
Well, I think the story, I'm going to stick with it. The globalists are anchored hard in Canada. Canada is where they stage a lot of this around the world. This is where they want to have their monopolies developed. And this is a stronghold. Their stronghold's in trouble. And they know the deal with Trump and the United States moving forward, because Trump, even when Trump's done, the next president is most likely going to be another MAGA president. So this is going to be at least 8 years. Maybe even 12 years.
Yeah.
So you either get on the train and join in with the change, or you rot away and die. And these guys are so desperate to hold on to power in Canada, And that's what I'm saying. What we call in Canada, for those who are not okay, we call them the Laurentian elite. It's that corridor, the Laurentian corridor, really Toronto, Montreal, where the vast majority of big business in Canada is owned and controlled. And we have massive legislative protections by governments to give these guys basically unlimited power so that they don't have to face competition. And these guys, and Ford's one of them, he's like the rhino Republican supporting the big globalist cartel of big corporations, the BlackRocks, the Brookfields, and the asset managers who invest and own in these companies, because the union pension funds and the public pension funds are not allowed to lose money, so they're too big to fail. So they're all anchored in Canada, and that's the Canadian Laurentian elite. They manage the vast majority of our large corporations here. And Trump is challenging that. He's saying no more monopolies. We want to trade fair. Free trade means fair trade across the board. We're not going to be into this business of, you get to keep your monopolies, Canada, but you want free access to our market. He's saying you might as well just join us and you get all of this and you won't have to worry about that anymore, knowing full well that those monopolies would also collapse with joining the United States.
Yeah.
And
here's the deal too.
He's helping Canadian consumers. That's the thing. He's helping Canadians. By doing that, Canada gets cheaper everything. We no longer have to pay 5 times the value on a block of cheese that an American pays, or 4 times the price on a gallon of milk. I mean, it's just, this is the kind of stuff. And then all the products that get made from those, from dairy alone, or from the Canadian Wheat Board, or, name your favorite monopoly. We've got controls at the border to prevent so much from coming in, that just so it doesn't harm maple syrup. Maple syrup has a cartel here. I mean, that's what's crazy.
Well, I have such confidence in the Trump administration. I'm going to leave off today's program. We'll do the lyrics from our wonderful Bob Dylan. I love Dylan. Come senators, congressmen, please heed the call. Don't stand in the doorway. Don't block up the hall. For he that gets hurt will be he who has stalled. The battle outside rage and will soon shake your windows and rattle your walls, for the times they are changing. And this is the Trump administration. It's a bulldozer. It's taking a wrecking ball to the East Wing. It's taking a wrecking ball to the Democrat Party. It is clearing it out of the way. America is being made great again. And the liberals are being dragged kicking and screaming all the way through to their own benefit and healing. And God help us if only the same thing could happen to Canada. Ladies and gentlemen, we wish you all a great weekend. Give us a thumbs up on the program. Subscribe if you'd like. And we will be back on Tuesday. Unfortunately, I'm still going to be on this computer. But, you got to be thankful for what you have. Blake, thanks again. And as always, for being here to help us knock this thing out of the park. Take care, everybody.